I am Megan and welcome to Battleroyalewithcheese, the website you can get all of your TV and film news reviews and trailers. And again, apologies, it's been a couple of weeks since the last review. I was away for a Comic-Con for quite a while. It was quite a long convention. And then I was unwell, unfortunately, and quite out of energy afterwards. So I do apologise, it's been a while. But I have finally gone to see The Backrooms. This is a film that I've been really excited for ever since it was announced about a year or so ago. It was a while ago that it got announced. And yeah, I'm glad I finally got the chance to see it. The Backrooms is based on the YouTube short film that was released in 2022, originally by KanePixels, with the feature film being co-written and directed by KanePixels. This follows a therapist who goes to find their missing patient after the patient tells her about a room that he found, a series of never-ending hallways and rooms in his furniture store that he works in. So I am actually going to keep this one spoiler-free. I don't really have too much to talk about with this one, but that does not mean that I didn't like it. I really enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun with this, and I think the film did a very good job with keeping that creepiness of the short film. The whole thing about the Backrooms is the never-ending hallways and landscapes and rooms, and the pieces that it picks up from other people's memories and implements into its own landscape. And I think they did a very good job with capturing not just the physical landscapes, which I have heard was all practical, which is insane, by the way. I've heard from some of the filming crew that sometimes they did legitimately get lost while filming, which is insane. But I love that it was a practical set, that they were all practical sets, which would be awesome and terrifying to be in at the same time. But I think not just on what it looked like on the physical scale, but the film did a really good at capturing the isolation and loneliness that you would feel in that never-ending set of rooms. And I like that the film did even feature some aspects of the fan games. So like this is in the trailer, so don't worry, but there's a location with a swimming pool that seems to be never ending. That is not from the original short film, that is from the fan games, which I thought was really interesting. Obviously the hazmat suit people are here as well. Again, that is in the trailer, so I'm not spoiling anything there, but I'm not going to say anything else to do with them, because that is a whole other section that I thought was actually really interesting and added some more perspective onto these weird rooms that was suddenly being discovered. I think the visual's creepiness was also further emphasised by the score. The score I can describe as really trippy. I think it's very similar to how Iron Lungs soundtrack actually was, where it's not really music, it was more noise that was then put together to create some kind of symphony. That's the closest I can think to describe the score for the Backrooms. It was very weird, very unique, but really worked to create a very surreal environment. And again, I'm using the word landscape a lot, but it's the only other word I can describe this huge area. I think it also made you feel really uncomfortable. Like the soundtrack especially made me feel really uncomfortable, sometimes a lot more than the visuals, and that really works in its favour. I really like the score. I also really like the two leads as well. It kind of is just two characters for the majority of this film. Yes, you have another couple of characters coming in occasionally at the beginning and at the end, but it is primarily these two people's film. And I thought they were both great together. Chiwetel Ejiofor, I apologise if I mispronounce any names, by the way, but Chiwetel Ejiofor's character Clark, he is the patient that ends up going missing. He then tells his therapist Mary, who's played by Renate Rensphere. I hope I pronounced that name correctly, I apologise if I haven't. And yeah, it eventually culminates to he goes missing in the back rooms and she has to go and find him. And I thought they really worked well together. She clearly has problems and issues and trauma of her own that she quite clearly hasn't gotten over, and she's still trying to get over that while helping other people as a therapist. And Clark is Yeah, he's definitely got some issues of his own. He's quite hot-headed. There's a dynamic to do with a broken relationship. And yeah, I thought they were fantastic together. I especially did like Chiwetel's acting as well as Clark. I thought he was fantastic, especially because a lot of the film is focused on him as well. And yeah, I thought he was fantastic. There's a particular... I'm not going to say what it is, but there's a moment in the third act where I was just blown away by his performance. It was amazing and incredible to watch. And speaking of third act, I won't spoil it, but there was something that happened in it where I thought it was a bit silly. I had fun with it, but it was a little silly. However, at the same time, it did make sense for it to be there. Again, yeah, I'm not going to say what it is, but it did make sense for it to be there, because of the themes that this film has already been taking on. This film is to do with a man who is losing grip on his reality. He is quite hot-headed. He tries to see his situation that he's in from a different perspective, of his own perspective and his own way. And this is kind of what the Backrooms in the film is about. The Backrooms is something that will take fragments and memories and try and piece it together to make something new, to try and make a new perspective. And I think even Clark's therapy session at the beginning was a very interesting foreshadowing into his encounter with the Backrooms later on in the film, especially in the third act. So yeah, it depends what you're wanting from this film. I thought it was silly, but I had fun with it. But I think that particular moment will divide people. It just depends what you're expecting from this film. So yeah, this was my spoiler-free review on the Backrooms. I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it had some really good scares, but overall its eerie atmosphere is what made it quite special and quite enjoyable. And it definitely did very well with its creepy atmosphere, with the way it made you feel uncomfortable even if nothing was happening. And I think it did a really fantastic job with that. The sets look amazing. They look really incredible. KanePixels, you did a fantastic job. YouTube horror is doing really well this year. It's doing very well this year. Go and see Obsession. That's another YouTuber horror that's come out that's doing really well. But I was Megan. This is Battle Royale with Cheese. See you soon.